All right.
Here we go.
Yeah, you ready?
Yep.
All right. Welcome. Thank you for tapping into some Untapped Keg, our podcast about mental health, sobriety, recovery, and hope. I'm one of your hosts, RJ Zimmerman, here with my good friend, Monte Ball. How you feeling today, big guy?
I'm good. I'm tired.
It's that change in weather, man. That change in weather.
No, yeah. I was in there thinking, but I'm all right, man. I'm doing okay. All is okay in my world. How you doing, man?
I'm doing better than I was earlier in the week. For people kind of watching our socials and stuff, my uncle passed away last weekend, and he had cancer for a little over 3 years. He's been sick for a while, and they gave him 3 months 3 years ago. So, he's a fighter, and unfortunately with COVID, I hadn't been able, last time I saw him was about a year ago, almost a year ago exactly. And it was when I was working in Oklahoma City and we were driving back. So I didn't know if I had gotten COVID or, there were no vaccines at that point. And so I had to stand outside the house while I was talking to him to make sure that I didn't give him anything that was going to kill him. So, that's what our topic is going to be. That's what our show is going to be. It's about death, because when you go sober, when you're on this journey, when you're in recovery, right? The emotions are raw. They're real. It doesn't matter how long you've been sober. It doesn't matter how long you've been in recovery. You still lost that time to be able to accurately process and even define or just be able to handle your emotions very well. And every single time a big emotional event comes up, I notice with myself, there's a delay in me feeling them. And then there's just, I don't know if it's just me fighting against it, but it seems like it takes a little bit for me to accept that I'm actually feeling that. I really, I love my uncle a lot. He had this laugh that, it was a booming laugh. It was, you'd hear it wherever you are in a building, you could hear his laugh, and it did nothing but make you smile. It made you laugh. It was contagious. And he was one of those people that no matter how your day was, he would make you feel better. And no matter how his day was, he would make other people feel better. And, I'm going to miss him. And I went through quite a range of emotions last week. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important, man. This conversation to talk about, unfortunately, we hopped on the train of self-medicating with alcohol, to obviously avoid those raw feelings, avoid those raw emotions, not having to really face the music. So I think this conversation is important because, unfortunately for us, we cannot stop Father Time. Mm-hmm. Life still happens. Life is still going to happen. But we do not have that self-medicating component. Well, I should say the use of a drug and or alcohol for self-medication. So this is a very important conversation to have, especially around this time of the year too, getting the holiday season emotional, getting back with family. You know, some families obviously are going to be -1, maybe -2, unfortunately, I think. And again, man, I mean, I'm sorry from me, sorry for your loss, man, your family's loss.
Thank you.
And
he was 70 years old. He lived a long life. Like I said, he loved his family. And it wasn't just his family, he loved everybody. So I knew it was happening because of events that were happening. I knew that when I got a phone call, that's what it was going to be. So I got a phone call and I was helping with the kids. So I ignored it the first time because I knew what it was going to be. And I got myself to a little private spot so that I could take it. And, I'm glad that I did, because when I get phone calls like that, I just kind of withdraw for a little while. So that's just like my first defense mechanism. And then, I was obviously sad, but I wanted to cry, but I couldn't. Like that for me, that's how when it comes to crying, I still have this innate feeling inside me that it doesn't happen until it does. And then when it does, it's waterworks, right? So we didn't know when the funeral was going to be. So it was okay because it wasn't real at that point. I knew that I wanted to go. And then I get a text message. Hey, I thinking that I had a week to find it. So I'm looking up plane tickets and all this. I get a text message. Hey, the funeral's in 2 days. And I'm like, well, actually I think it was 3, but I had like 2 days to find a hotel and flights and everything. And I'm like, okay, this is really real. And that was when it like hit me. So I'm stressed out because I'm trying to find plane tickets. I'm trying to find work schedules around because now all of a sudden I'm going to be gone during the week. Someone's got to watch the kids. My wife works. For those who don't know, I'm a stay-at-home dad right now. So that's what, like, planning my flight around being able to take care of the kids, where the kids going to be, who's going to be able to get them. And then, so get that taken care of. And I was very down. I was feeling the draw. Like I wanted a drink. I've been sober almost 8 years. And I wanted to just numb it just for a little while. Like let's just take care of it because you know what? I'll feel it tomorrow. It'll be fine. But instead I, grabbed stuff out of the fridge, fired up the stove, and I cooked some food. And luckily, my partner kind of sensed that I needed to just focus on something. So she took the kids, took care of them. And then I threw on some hard rock music from back in, high school, like Breaking Benjamin, Rise Against. And I just jammed out cooking food for about an hour. And that helped to ease my craving. And I've been tweeting a lot about that up until I kind of stopped tweeting at the end of the week because I was at the funeral. But that, when we talk about trying to find outlets, like that's what we're talking about, because I could feel that pull. It would have been, if I would have gone to a grocery store during that time, I may have bought some alcohol. It's a good possibility. But because I was able to find something that I know kind of brings me back to my center, that something tangible, something I can do, something with my hands, like you always say, keeping those hands busy. Mm-hmm. It goes a long way. It really does. And then the next night, because I had to leave the next day, I cooked again, and that helped me bring me back to center again. But the funeral was beautiful. and it was cathartic. There was 2 different moments that I, broke down a little bit. I went for a walk at one point because I just don't like to be around people when I'm experiencing my emotions. So I went for a walk around the block, let a lot out. And it's just, he made a lot of positive impressions in his life.
Yeah.
And that was really evident during the funeral. And, I miss him already, but, I'm glad he was a part of my life. So.
Right. I hear you, man. I hear you. I wanted to give you that time to really share that because, the main reason why we wanted to start this outside of to help others is to help ourselves, to give us ourselves this avenue to just be honest, just be real, and just kind of just share. And I think it's important as well, again, to talk about pain, loss, and whether it's the loss of a job, loss of a child, loss of a partner, even to some way lesser of an evil in a sense, but the loss of a game that you were very passionate about can be triggers for folks. And I think it's important that we mention, as you have been already mentioning, to have that outlet. This is what we've been ringing this bell since day one of Untapped Keg, of finding those healthy outlets. And I think this was the actual time where, we're walking the walk, what we've been saying. We've been talking it, of course, not saying we haven't been walking it, but I think this is a great example of utilizing that healthy outlet for an extremely stressful time that warrants self-medication for in a lot of people's lives,
right?
And obviously in our past lives, prior to stop drinking, stop the use of alcohol. So I mean, it's you're in a way better place than I'd be in. I'll say that. I'll say that.
Here's a little. Well, I haven't listened to this much music too, so like the music has been very. It's been interesting how it takes me back to, I don't know, like that's the music that I listened to when I experienced a lot of my high emotions going through a teenager, right? Like when you're a teenager, that's when you experience emotions for the first time. So that's when they're their most intense generally. I mean, obviously we always have more intense emotions as we get older as well. But so like listening to this music, just it has a lot of calming to it as well. But in the move, I gave away like all my dress shirts and all my dress clothes and I forgot about it.
Oh, geez.
So the day I'm leaving, this is a funny story. So I'm going to pack this in here. So I go and I'm looking for pants. All I have are golf pants. I kept my shoes though. So I have my shoes. So I have golf pants, which are, they're mostly dress pants. Like it's fine. So I'm like, okay, I need to go get a shirt. I need a dress shirt. So I still have a tie too.
Yeah.
So I go and I'm looking real quick at JCPenney for a shirt. I'm like, okay, this one should fit me. These are all my measurements. So I get it. And the hotel the morning of, I'm ironing all this and I'm like, oh, I haven't ironed in forever. So it took me like an hour to iron pants and a shirt because I'm just not good at it. All right. And then
I'm sorry, hold on. It took you an hour
just about
to iron.
Just about an hour
to iron a shirt and some pants?
Yes. Let me tell you though, there were no wrinkles to be found.
I laugh because I'm super similar. We talk about our ADHD, but what'd you just say right there?
There was not a wrinkle to be found on either.
There better not have been.
Right?
I mean, there better not have been for an hour. That shirt must have been started at a large and now it's a freaking medium.
Oh, just wait. So I got an extra large because I mean I have my dad bod, and so I got an XL. Next, perfect. Put the shirt on. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I reach my arm out, and my shirt it comes down to here. On my right here, I'm like, what?
What the heck, dude?
So I'm like, I did not put the shirt on. I just assumed it was all going to be right. The one thing I didn't think about was the arms. I got an XL. I'm tall, but I'm not like super tall.
Yeah.
And I put it on, and it is literally like 3 to 4 inches up my arm. And I'm like, what the heck? So I show my dad. He's like, did you buy a women's shirt? I'm like, well, it was in the men's section, but it might be for all I know. So I go through the whole funeral and I'm like T-Rexing it so that nobody can see my arms are so short.
Yeah. What?
I'm just like, I'm just holding my arms in tight, you know?
Yeah. Oh, trust. Oh, yeah. And for not doing much. Well, given the service, there would not have been a reason to do this, but
yeah,
put your arms straight up in the air. But I've had that before where I limit my stretching of my arms. Yes.
And then I sat down too, and my pants were 3 inches short.
Oh no.
And it's
sat
like
down in the bottom of your pants were up by your knee.
not up by my knee, but I mean, you know, they came up. You can see all my sock.
You're wearing pants to the service, sat down, and then you had shorts on.
Pretty much, yep. I'm like, of course. I didn't try any of this stuff on. I just show up and I'm like, let's go. And yeah, wow.
But that's how it is though at services. You know, obviously don't come in looking like a freaking slob, but no one really cares what you're wearing. If you're wearing, you can wear dress pants and a just a plain t-shirt, black t-shirt, and no one's gonna say anything.
I mean, you know, there were people wearing jeans and a flannel.
Exactly.
And that's when I realized I'm the only one who cares what I look like.
Yeah.
For real. I am. Like, that's how it is. Like, you know, we're there to celebrate the life of someone. He would have laughed at me so hard when I showed him my shirt. He would have laughed so hard. I'm like, all right. This is...
No, I mean, I think it's you know what's pretty cool about this situation is given the severity of the situation, the seriousness of it, you know, still being able to find a silver lining in it, something that you know that your uncle would have just cracked up laughing about. You know, it's kind of, you can leave with that memory. Obviously the memory of, but you can kind of leave on a, given the circumstances, a good memory. And that's the thing, man. I mean, I appreciate you really sharing that, because again, you know, you're really putting yourself out there, sharing this stuff. We're sharing it to strangers. We don't know the folks who are downloading our episodes or watching. You know, we know a few, of course. We know a good amount. But not all of them, actually. And I think that shows a lot of courage, man. And I think this is me just speaking from the heart to you, man, from day one of Untapped Keg to now. I mean, that I've already witnessed a significant amount of growth in you, emotionally. And I'm myself as well. Because I'm saying, like, I know I'm not perfect. And so just kudos, man, for just sharing that, because it's not easy.
Thank you.
Kind of putting your rawness heart out there, the rawness of your heart. And that's what this is all about. We don't care about the trolls online. We don't care about, you know, if you may have relapsed yesterday, but you're listening to us right now. We can always start over. We're here just to help. Again, I'm just spitballing right now just because I think this is just one of those raw episodes, but just, yeah, that's heavy, man. That's heavy.
You know,
kind of lost. That's a heavy topic.
I want to, take what you're saying. And I was talking to someone about possibly being a guest on, just to tell their story. And they said, well, I can't remember how long it was, like 3 or 4 years of sobriety, but I relapsed and I'm only on month 4. So I understand if like you want someone who's further along. I'm like, hold on, you're in recovery, like you're in sobriety recovery. That's it. Like, period. We're not going to gatekeep like if you like, no matter where you are, and that's where you are. Like that's a snapshot of this moment in time. Like we're not going to be like, no, you're not really there until you're like a year, no, you're there. You're feeling the emotions. You're feeling the raw. You are going through life without the crutch.
Right.
We really are like raw nerves, right? Like even like I said, I'm almost 8 years. I'm still there. I still struggle with my emotions. I still push them down to the side. I can't name them. Like that's the thing that I struggle with my partner the most, is trying to explain I try and explain my feeling, but all I have is like happy, mad, glad, sad. Like that's it. Like the basics. That's all I know. I don't know what they mean. I know more now since we started the podcast, since Jenny joined us, thankfully. With the feeling words.
For you.
Okay.
I got a technique for you, and it may or may not work. And this is a technique that I've never used. So is the technique? Don't know. But saw it on this show. You. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm going the straight. Just I get all my information about COVID from Joe Rogan. No. This technique, emotional technique. Yes, I got it from a TV show. But long story short, this couple, right? I'm assuming they struggled with obviously explicitly explaining how they are feeling, so they just used flags, and not visual, just verbal. How you doing today? Green flag, yellow flag, red flag. That's kind of it. I mean, can be cheesy, can be corny, but straight to the point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
everyone knows green, yellow, red. It's like yellow. I don't know. I don't know where I'm at right now. I'm not feeling terrible. I'm not great. Something's obviously there, but at this current moment, when you asked me, I have not found that yet.
That's interesting.
Maybe ask me in a couple hours. Green, obviously, we all know what green is. You're feeling good. You're happy, you're excited, the day's going well, and obviously we know what red is. Red, you need a timeout, you need time to yourself, maybe you just want to go through the day. Let's just save all the, if I'm speaking to my partner, I don't have a partner, but I'm like, if I said red, like, let's just, if we had any topics that we were going to discuss today, can we please just move those to tomorrow? Not really feeling the best today. Kind of just wanted to throw that out there because it is a little difficult to kind of explain explicitly how exactly you're feeling and why are you feeling that way, especially when you are feeling that way.
Right. So that's a good tip. I like that. Especially in like, I could have really used that in early sobriety when I could not. I just didn't know. I didn't know what I was feeling. Period. I was just trying to get through to the next day. It would have definitely been a lot of yellows and a lot of reds and not much for greens. But, that's the thing. The further you get, sometimes we have a tendency to think that it's harder to fall back into it, right? It's harder to relapse. It's harder but it's not, it's all, and I saw somebody post this on Twitter, Recovery Posse. So for those who are new, hashtag Recovery Posse on Twitter. That's a great hashtag if you're part of the sobriety community, recovering from anything. Like the most supportive people from all over the world. It's incredible. But somebody posted, it's not that, I'm not scared of the second or the third or the fourth drink. I'm scared of the first drink because the first drink is going to lead to the 20th drink.
Of course.
It's not that I can't handle that, the second or third or fourth. It said I can't handle the first because the first is going to make me. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's so true. That's it. That's exactly how I feel. And that's very pertinent to all of this, you know, like, you know, if I would have just had the one, boy, you know, just thinking about it like that, I have so much to lose right now, family and everything. Like,
Yeah.
I would for sure lose it. I would go down that rabbit hole. I would not be able to stop. I don't know what would stop me, you know?
Yeah.
And just being a loose cannon. It's not,
I think, dude,
it does also scare me a little bit, right?
Of course. My fault. I didn't mean to cut you off right there. I thought you were finished.
Go for it. Yeah.
I was gonna say also too. I think what you're stating is important, very, very important. But also we can't negate the other side of this coin there as well, where it's you also didn't drink,
Right.
which is huge, massive. And again, I'm not just saying this to you. I'm saying it to even myself and saying it to the folks who are listening. It's you know, we don't want it to. We understand the being afraid. You know, it's at times it may appear as if it's like a house of cards. You know, you have that first drink and then it's done. It's over. Everything might be done. All the work you've done, you may feel as if it's over with. But that's not the case. And I think with that, you also have to look at, well, if you didn't drink, like how important is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Continuously building that foundation, laying more cement, more brick. Like that's the stuff that you can truly build on as well. But you can also build on, you know, relapsing as well too. But I just, you know, from me to you, man, I'm just letting you know, like yeah, you can go down that rabbit hole of, man, if I did drink, I would have did this, I would have did that, and I would have, you know, had to explain it to my partner, and how do I justify those actions looking at my children? But what you did do was not drink because all of those things are important to you. So that's important, man. That's especially given, you know, the loss that you are still currently experiencing. That's priceless, man. That's honestly, that you can't trade that for anything. To you, again, as we've always stated, the most selfless, selfish act is you truly paying attention to your emotions and your actions at those times where you know you would be drinking. You know, you may have not been as talkative to your partner. You may have not been as talkative to your kids when you got that phone call. That's good. You needed that time for yourself, because if you didn't have that time for yourself or take that time for yourself, then all the stuff that you were talking about that you could have been doing is a possibility that you would have been doing that. So selfless act, also a selfish one, but for the better. So long story short, what I'm saying here is there's lessons on both parts of this. Lessons on both parts. And I think now, obviously, hindsight being 2020 for yourself, you know you didn't drink. You know now that, dude, excuse my language, but I fucking crushed it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You had every reason to drink. I mean, you have a lot of reasons to drink. Moving to a different state is tough. You know, trying to find new friends is tough. Leaving your home state that you grew up in is tough. Family, that's tough. Obviously, you have your own like nuclear family, and then the loss of your uncle, and then trying to navigate a new life of being a stay-at-home dad. You're living it, man. Everything that we've been talking about since day one, you're living it. About finding new habits, staying true to what we've been discussing, and now having an example of loss, of pain, and still staying true to it. You're shit, man.
Thank you. I have been playing a lot of video games lately too. Speaking of new habits, like trying to, you know, find something else to be able to put my energy into, and that's helped.
Right.
You know, you're right. There has been a lot of stress, and you like laying it down like that really. Yeah, man.
So I've been watching.
True.
I've been watching. I've been watching in a good way.
Yeah.
I'm still learning and growing, and you already know I look up to you and my sister, and I've been watching closely, and it's been helping me obviously. And I just think it's important now for us to, not only for yourself, for your own growth, and not only for me watching your growth and trying to follow that same growth pattern. I think it's important for our listeners as well too to say, wow, dude's really.
Oh no. Are you there, Mons? Bro. Oh, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
You just froze. It was like,
okay.
Yeah. And it was not a flattering frozen picture either.
Oh, good. That should be our thumbnail.
Right? Luckily, I already made one. So
nice. Well, I don't know if that was heard or not, but I think just to kind of end this segment, and obviously I'll let you share whatever you want to share to kind of end it as well. I think it's important, man, and I really appreciate that. You're helping me understand that even though we've stopped drinking, we still have to deal with life. And that's just what it is. I'm not minimizing, obviously, loss. I'm not minimizing any of that, but that's just unfortunately the fact. We got to figure it out.
And, that's the thing. Like, this one, going through with my grandpa.
Yeah.
They were, not unexpected. Right? Like the unexpected one is going to be, to me, that's going to be the true test. Like,
yeah.
And I'm not saying that to minimize it either, because I used to talk to my grandpa 3 times a week. I used to, talk to my Uncle John all the time. Like, not all the time, but like anytime I was feeling bad, I knew I could talk to him. Or like anytime, we were together, always making me laugh, always like truly caring about how I'm doing as a person. And, but just the way life is, knowing that it was coming can help prepare too. But it definitely is.
Yeah.
Like you said, I could feel it coming. I felt the cravings. So I was able to use what I practiced before and do the cooking, because I know cooking puts me in a good place. Put on the music that I wanted to listen to not just ignoring it and moving past it, like trying to find something to do instead of just letting it build up and fester and really, really become a craving that you cannot ignore, right? That's what I've taken from this. That's what I want to convey to people, to find that habit, whether it be cooking, knitting, video games, reading, whatever you can do to let some stress out. Going to the gym, basketball, baseball, pickleball, anything that, if you feel you are coming down to it, that you can get out and you can do and get some of that energy out and just bring yourself back to center so that you can focus. Because if you can't, it's going to be such a struggle. And, I really hope that you're prepared for it, because I don't want people to struggle, right? I want to set people up for success. I want to help with that. And that's kind of what I want to leave with. So thank you everybody for the kind words who've reached out, who are going to reach out. And even if you don't, thank you. And thanks for listening. So to move on from that to another very heavy topic, this is what this show's going to be. That's why I titled it Dealing with Death.
Yeah.
We thought about talking about it in our sports show, but it's more pertinent to here, to this show, mental health and sobriety. NFL wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders got a DUI earlier this week. Got into an accident, killing a young lady and her dog, going 156 miles per hour. And just how do you process this? Like, when coming at being being an alcoholic, being someone who drank and drove quite a bit, I would say often. That's some of the stuff that I feel the most guilty about.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this could be me. So when I hear it, I obviously feel terrible for the woman's family. I feel terrible for that it happened, period. But then I see myself in that headline.
Yes.
I read it and I can see myself. I can see it be, I made that mistake. I did it. And we do not condone drinking and driving. It's so easy to get an Uber now. It's so easy to get a taxi. It's so easy for just somebody at the bar to give you a ride, for real.
Yeah.
That nobody wants anybody to drink and drive. People will help you out. You just have to ask. But also I know that when I was drunk and I wanted to go somewhere, it was very, very difficult to stop me. So talking about this,
about Ruggs.
Yes. Henry Ruggs the third.
That is deep, man.
It's devastating.
I mean,
from multiple angles.
It is. It's sad. It is very, very, very sad. And I want to start it off like this too. It is extremely sad and tragic. As we talk about loss for obviously the woman who in this situation, the dog, both who lost their lives, the family of the victim. It is very sad. And we are truly, truly sorry. And I also believe it is sad for Ruggs as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
As what Derek Carr stated, quarterback for the Raiders, you can still support someone even though you strongly disagree with their actions. Not saying that we're here just hoorah-rah and supporting Henry Ruggs and saying, oh, he shouldn't be locked up or anything like that. As what you stated, RJ, and us both being recovering alcoholics, we have driven drunk. We have done it at least one. And here's the deal. I'm not minimizing the situation, not one bit. I don't want for anybody to misinterpret what I'm stating here. But the severity of drinking and driving and how common it is the problem. And I am a statistic in that column. I've driven drunk a few times, and all it takes is just one time. RJ just stated, you just said the same thing. You've driven drunk. And it's just that's all it takes is that one bonehead mistake to ruin your life. And I hate saying that about Ruggs because I don't know where his life is going to go. And I don't want to wish any ill will on his post-football, post-prison life, but it's not going to be easy. Not one bit. That one mistake is going to haunt him for the rest of his life. And once he gets out, he's going to have a very small, very short, I should say, ceiling. And I just think it's important for us to just continuously remind our youth remind folks who are listening that all it takes is one bonehead mistake, a mistake that you may have done before, but all it takes is that one time for your entire life to be completely different. It happened to me. One bonehead mistake changed the entire trajectory of my life, the entire trajectory completely. And if you don't think I don't still sit at nighttime watching running backs like Jonathan Taylor or Melvin Gordon, guys that I know ball in the NFL, and still saying to myself, my goodness, that could be me. That most definitely could still be me. I should have been there. But I made a bonehead mistake. And so I just think it's important, this topic. I think this is an extremely important learning lesson for everybody who's keeping tabs on this situation. Again, condolences to the family. That's tragic. And he deserves prison time. He deserves everything that is going to come his way.
Yep.
It's just a learning experience for everybody. It's not fun. It's not funny. It's not cool. It's not, again, it's you got Uber everywhere, especially in Las Vegas. That probably might be the number one hub for Uber. There's probably more Ubers in Vegas than probably any other spot in the country. I mean, and I just wish that he would have had somebody or had someone that would have said, you know what, man, I don't know. You know, why don't we just Uber? But then one thing that we're also forgetting about here in this topic, this conversation, is money is a hell of a drug.
It is.
Money is a hell of a drug.
Especially if you don't have much experience.
Mm-hmm. No guidance, no experience, trying to, jump into the keeping up with the Joneses. And again, I'm not here to dog rugs. But you're driving the brand new Corvette going 156 miles an hour. I'm just going off of the facts. This ego, this money, this I'm above the law lifestyle, money is a hell of a drug. There needs to be some guidance.
And that's also, obviously the first thing I say is you see it's a DUI, you're like, oh, what an idiot. And then you hear somebody died and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then you hear 156 miles an hour and it's like, that's somebody hurting who does that. That's not somebody who is in a good frame of mind. That's somebody who has to get some things sorted. That is what that is. And, I really hope that I hope that he talks to somebody and doesn't just
let that guilt eat him.
And he, obviously deserves all the consequences.
Of course.
And I have to turn that around. Sometimes when I read these headlines, like, it makes me feel guilt that I didn't have consequences, right?
Yeah.
But I got lucky. That's all it is. I got lucky. And that can be a trigger to other people in recovery and sobriety, because it is to me to feel that guilt, feel those deep negative emotions that, what we are feeling. I just hope that he does get help and that he can turn this around to help other people.
Of course.
That he can find some peace in his life. But what a terrible situation. And, I've already seen it be used as like a scapegoat on NFL players, the 156 drinking and driving. And it's just like,
scapegoat as in from
like people saying, this is what the NFL is, stuff like that. Like, and all NFL players do is get arrested. And it's just like, and then other people are using it, obviously, with the Aaron Rodgers situation. Why aren't we talking about this more? What is there to talk about? Dude's going to jail. He drank and drove.
Every employer, every single employer out there. Well, let me back up. A crap ton of employers out there are firing people for the same reason. All right.
Yep.
The NFL is just on a stage where it just hits the media and it's just right there in your face. Not minimizing it. Obviously, there still needs to be some guidance, but it's not a scapegoat. That's not the route you should be taking this story. That's very frustrating for me because this is an opportunity for everybody to learn. I want to know the statistic before I just throw out some random numbers, but would you say it's safe to say somebody in their 40s, right? And who's been drinking since probably 19, 20. I know obviously the drinking age is 21, but 19, 20 if they went to college, right?
Let's be real. Yeah.
Exactly. What do you think the percentages of folks who have driven drunk at least one time? Now, drunk as in, because there's obviously a spectrum of drunkenness. Drunk as in no remembrance of the previous night when you wake up. Yeah, when you wake up.
It's a high number. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I was gonna say probably close to 75. Yeah.
I guarantee you it's probably about 7 out of 10 people have driven drunk at least one time. And I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying this is the teaching moment that all it takes is one time to enjoy your life and someone else's life who's in the car with you, or obviously in the life of somebody who is just driving their car, going to the grocery store or movie theater or what have you. And that's just some guilt, man, that I don't know how. I hope he does recover. I really do. But I don't. How do you, man?
I don't know.
I wish he does. But that's taking someone else's life is. I hope he gets the help he needs. And I may be just a little pessimistic on it just because of the criminal justice system doesn't allow for folks to grow. That's just not what it is.
Yeah, they don't want people to.
Exactly. So I struggle with this topic because I feel for him because he's going to sit in prison and that's going to eat away at him for years and years. And it's going to change. It's going to change him. It's going to change him. Hopefully for the better, but I think it's either for the better or for the complete worse. I don't think there's any middle ground there. I just hope he has the guidance. And I hope, and my speculation, I'm just spitballing, but again, condolences to the family of the victim. Condolences to her friends. If she had a partner, it's unfair. It's unfair.
It's tragic, and like we said, as alcoholics, like it hits us different. It just does.
It does.
And
it does.
It hits us on a personal level. Even though neither of us knew Henry Ruggs, it hits us on a personal level. Anytime I see these kind of headlines, it hits me on a personal level. And
it does because you know what? Forget this. I'm going to stop censoring myself on our own podcast. It hits us differently because we feel for Henry Ruggs. Well, let me speak for myself. It hits me differently because I feel for Henry Ruggs. And at times I feel afraid to say that because of cancel culture. But we already had that topic on yesterday. But you can still feel for him.
Yes.
He made a mistake. Okay, I understand it's not a mistake. But again, it's not like he went out and said, I can't wait to kill somebody. His reckless behavior was the cause of that, but it's a sad story for both parties. I'm just going to leave it at that. Again,
like you said earlier, you can agree with the consequences that are coming to Henry Ruggs and feel bad that he made the choices and understand as an alcoholic that those choices were not necessarily just made that night, that they were added up from multiple moments to that one moment. And that's where what we as alcoholics kind of understand and see. And when you see his blood alcohol level, like that's not somebody going out and partying. That's somebody going out and numbing. That's what that is. That's what we used to do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's whether he admits it right now or not. That's what we can see. And
I'm glad you said that.
I still, you know, I am not condoning drinking and driving.
Absolutely not.
I am calling out the hypocrisy of myself talking about this and having done it so much. And, you know, it's just, it's important for us to talk about it so that people know that we can, right? That we as a community, that we as sobriety and recovery community can talk about it. That it's a sad situation all around.
It is.
And he did do it to himself, but it does not mean that he does not deserve help.
No, he deserves help and he deserves the consequences.
Yes.
He deserves the consequences and he is an American citizen and he deserves his help. So, I mean, it's tragic, but I think gosh, this is a very just potent, there it is, a very potent learning experience for teenagers drinking at 16 and 17 in the smaller towns, or actually it doesn't even matter where you are and you're drinking and driving. 30-year-olds doing it, 40-year-olds doing it. Oh no, I'm okay. I know my body. I'm good. It's a very potent experience for everybody. And I just truly hope that people are taking note of this. That you know, a young rising star dude had it all, literally the world is his oyster, literally in the palm of his hands, playing for a great organization.
Yeah.
You know, got money, financially stable. I'm sure he's probably helped out his parents or his whoever his caretaker was, helped out whomever, you know, life in his hands, world in his hands. And just one mistake, it's all gone. It's all down the drain. Yeah. And again, he deserves the consequences. And I'm just going to leave it at this. And again, finally, condolences again to the family. For sure. That's unfair. And we're sorry. Yeah.
So, moving from that topic, what do you have planned for today?
I am going to go help Chris Borland right after we finish this. Gonna go help. Oh no, I always said it because he was on our we had him on before.
I know. I'm just teasing. I gotta do that. I don't get to do it anymore.
Sure. I'm gonna go help him. You know, just put some dressers together, couches together for him. Just kind of help him. He's getting settled in and all that stuff. But
that's awesome.
And then what else do I got? It's them. Check out some schoolwork. And then maybe go to dinner tonight. Not sure yet. Nothing too crazy, man. What about yourself?
Probably clean the house a little bit.
Needed to do that.
Gonna be, I don't know. Apparently, Ashley saw a mouse while I was gone, so I might be doing a little bit of mouse hunting. I don't.
Field mice?
I don't know. We'll see. So yeah. It's getting colder, so everything's trying to get to the warmth. So it's starting to see a lot of bugs inside and stuff. But maybe we'll go to the park a little bit later, try and watch this Packer game. See how Jordan Love looks. But you know,
yes, that's on the agenda.
Right. Well. It's tough to come down when we talk about these heavy topics, but it feels good. It feels good talking and helping other people and, you know, when you say things out loud, you take some of their power away. You take some of your power back. And that's part of what has helped us on this podcast is taking our power back. And then, we have lots of examples about that. Maybe, we're coming up on episode 100. Maybe we'll talk about the beginnings a little bit and how we've grown since the start of it. But that's not for another 14 episodes. So we got a little bit to go. But, I just want to right now, thank you, Mats, for doing this every week and being there and the kind words that you say. So,
man, thank you, man. No, I mean every bit of it, and I know you mean every bit of it. And hopefully those listening, we've received messages. They feel it too, and that's just what we wanted to create. It's the toxicity, the whole cancel culture stuff. You're leaving absolutely zero room for growth for people. And I don't understand where that change, that switch, that tide happened, where it's like we went from learn and grow from your mistakes. Yeah, don't be out there just a habitual, criminal. Don't be out there just doing stuff and then say, oh, sorry, I made a mistake, and then doing it again. No, obviously we all understand what we're talking about here. Before it was, you make a mistake, you allow for people to learn and grow from it. Like, okay, at what point did life become, you're supposed to be 100% perfect at all times?
There's a lot of people out there, and we're not just talking about one side, trying to make the world black and white.
My goodness.
And it's varying shades of gray is what the reality is. And it always has been, and it always will be. And there are issues that are black and white, right? And, talking about human rights, talking about allowing people to be themselves. But that is definitely something that you and I have been focusing on, is allowing for people to grow, allowing for mistakes to happen, and say, you know what? Here's a hand. We'll help you up. Hopefully we learn from this one.
Exactly. And now, if you keep... No, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and then we'll just go from there.
Yeah. And again, I was going to say, but if you keep making the same mistake over and over and over and over and over again, then it's like, all right, we need to try to figure something else out here. But long story short, you give people no time. You give them no physical and figuratively speaking room to learn and grow. It's this, oh, you made a mistake, boom, bash this person, destroy them, cancel them, don't watch their stuff, don't listen to their stuff, don't support them. And it's like, what is that going to do? What is your agenda? And again, I don't want to go down that path of cancel culture. That's an entirely different topic, but hopefully our listeners are on the same page as us.
Tune in next time.
Yeah.
So, speaking of growing, it's one thing, we're trying to grow the show, trying to make it better for everybody. So check out our link tree, check out our socials at Untapped Keg. We're trying to raise some money to hire a producer so we can focus on the content. We can focus on making even more stuff and make it shorter and better, easier to consume. Hit us up. Let us know how we can do better, something you'd like to see, some new changes. We have Buy Me a Coffee and a Ko-Fi, which is pronounced coffee. That would be amazing if you'd help us out. And it'd be awesome if you could just share, retweet, leave us a review. So where can they find you, Monts?
Yeah, you guys can find me at MonteBall28 on Twitter, Instagram, MonteBall. Obviously, our Untapped Keg pages. Please leave us messages, comments, what you want to see, what you don't want to see. And we'll most definitely get back to you. And if you are struggling, or know of someone who's close to you and they're struggling, especially around this time, again, holiday season, people are drinking, people are inside, families are coming together. Maybe a family member is a trigger of yours. Reach out to us.
Yes. Well,
we'll respond. Absolutely. Where can they find you, RJ?
You can find me at It's Trickster, ITZ. The I is the one, Trickster, on Twitter. and Untapped Keg everywhere. Like Mons just said, hit us up. We'll respond. We'll always be there. We try to be there. Doesn't matter how late. We'll try to get there as quick as we can. This has been Untapped Keg, Sobriety and Mental Health Podcast, part of the Believe Podcast Network. And you know what? Let's try to be better tomorrow than we were today, because at least if we didn't make it, we tried. And a special shout out to Jenny. Enjoy your vacation. I hope it's great. Hopefully your flight home is wonderful. And yeah, we love you all. Thank you.